Welcome, everybody, to Extra Time presented by N90 Minutes Podcast. This is our, I believe, fifth episode overall. Recapping the happenings of this past weekend against our rival, Inter Fort Lauderdale. Gonna, cover a lot of stuff tonight. Go a little bit deeper into the match, what we saw, a little more tactically, go over the issues with the supporter section, security, and supporter groups as well. So let's jump right into it. We'll go over the match first a little more than we did in the main show. Luke's with us. Johnny last second had to back out because of something that came up. He's fine. Just he has to be up early in the morning for something. So he won't be able to join us tonight. So yeah, a rough night at Orlando City Stadium. Thanks to Luke, my left elbow is killing me today.
Oh, come on.
I told you when you kept bumping into me out of excitement. I'm like, dude, because I was resting my arm, resting my body. My arms were on the rails, and he kept bumping into me. And every time he did it, I just felt a jolt go down my arm from my elbow. But that's what happens when you get old. Fun first half, really fun for the most part. I would have liked to have seen us maintain possession a little more in the first half. Alleviate some of their chances that they had in the first half because realistically, if Crepeau hadn't stood on his head, and that's the first thing that I really want to get into is is Crepeau and his positioning in goal. He made some of those saves yesterday look routine, and they weren't.
This is what the difference is, right? And people can be foot mob merchants, as I like to call them sometimes, and like the foot mob merchants, and they look at Crepeau's rating and it's like a 5.0 or whatever, and he's not necessarily the case. Without Crepeau last night and some of the stops that he made, it could have been, 6, 8. It could have been a lot more. The scoreline could have been a lot more volatile than it actually was. And when you look at a goalkeeper's rating, sometimes it can be misleading. Well, he's done this and he's done that, and whatever, and it's not like that. Crepeau did well. You can only play with the defense in front of you, and the defense, with a rookie and with two rookies.
Really, I mean, Brecalo mainly played left back last year.
Yeah.
Because of Schlegel didn't see much time the last 2 seasons at center back, and somebody brought it up in the main show. Brecalo can look like a world class center back at times, and then look completely like he does, completely amateur out there at other times. And it's like with him, unfortunately, there's no in between. And I think with time, the amateurism will be less and less just with him being out there and him learning the getting used to being in that position a little bit more. I think if Iago picks up or Nolan Miller keeps, it is Nolan Miller, right?
Yeah.
Nolan, he keeps progressing. I think once we get some stability in the second position, he'll be a little bit, he'll those amateur mistakes will be alleviated. The real question with the defense with me though is that left back. I mean, Tahir Brown first start for the senior team, really the only time he's had significant minutes ever. I thought with the circumstances that he played reasonably well. I know his rating doesn't show it. I feel like we didn't really play much to his strong suit because he does like to get forward a little bit more. But I do feel that with the situation, he played about as well as he could have played.
Well, yeah. I was going to go on about Brekalo a little bit.
Go ahead.
Brekalo
Yeah.
starved of first team football for a very, very, very long time. Like, I hope people are realizing that at a point in time, Brekalo was starved of first team football. And when you get thrown in, you have players like Janssen on, you get thrown in, and you're normally used to playing with people like Janssen and experienced fullbacks who play all the time, and you're the centre back that kind of shifts in and wherever. You know, you when you're that guy, it's tough to adjust to be that guy when you've got a guy to the left or right of you who has had that experience. So, you know, Brekalo has a lot to adjust to. As there are some flaws in his game where he can make really, 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 really costly mistakes. Like when he makes a mistake, boy, do we know about it, you know. But when it comes to the other aspects of it, it's like no centre back that we have can carry the ball like he has. When he takes the ball out the back, he takes it with confidence. He takes it with silk. He takes it with like the comfortability of it. Everything about that just shows that he's so comfortable on the ball, which none of our centre backs have, including Janssen. Janssen can have that. Um, Janssen has that ability to be comfortable on the ball, but you know, in that aspect of it, there's nobody like him when it comes to having that technique, which is just, it's given. It's just God given instead of, trained.
Yeah. And I mean, but I mean, better than anybody playing center back in your youth days. That's the nature of being a center back.
Yeah.
When you're great, nobody talks about you, but when you make one mistake, you're headlines.
You're the hero. Yeah. That's the experience I'm coming from. Is like when I did play centre back.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to, I was a smaller centre back as well. These centre backs are now 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
I'm quite small, so playing as a smaller centre back, it was tougher for me because I had to adapt, and I wasn't even pacey. So looking at other centre backs, you have to have that technique and you have to have that confidence on the ball, which he does have over, and he does have experience at an international level. So like at a top international level as well. So over like Reed Brown and stuff like that, he does have that experience, which is useful. I feel like, as I'm gonna say again, it's just when he looks around and you see those inexperienced players around he's not really there to lead them. Janssen is there to lead the team, and he can help those young players like a Reed Brown and like a who was it? Who am I trying to think of? Who was playing in the back?
Nolan Miller.
Yeah, like Nolan Miller or Taifi. He can help those players get to those places and recover from their mistakes if they make mistakes. He just doesn't have that, unfortunately. And
he's a different center back. He's more of
he's completely different.
Janssen's more your traditional.
Because when we play that system, when Janssen's in the team, it's like Janssen stays back. He's a pure defender, which allows Brekalo to take the ball forward, which he's really good at. And if he does mess up, Janssen's there to clean up the mess.
Yep.
So that's the difference between, I love Brekalo to the next person, but that is just some of the things where he just kind of, doesn't get that as much.
Yeah. I mean, they tried me at center back in high school, but I was just too aggressive. The only time I really technically played center back was when we went with the three back system, and even then, the coach let me be a little more adventurous up front than most center backs would be allowed because we had a lot of speed in the back. And I was decently fast back then too. But I was just too aggressive. I took unnecessary risks at center back when I played. So that's the first thing you can't do. So I do have a little understanding of the position, but yeah, I mean, I feel like I said, once Nolan realizes or Iago, whoever takes that next step, of how to play with Brecalo, I feel like Iago, based on his build, has the potential to be better with Brecalo, but he just looked yesterday. He looked better. Iago did, and when he had to come on for Nolan. Again, we hope hopefully by Wednesday we hear something about his injury. It's very rare players go down and are immediately taken off like he was. So I hope it's nothing
We
too
hope
severe.
it's cautionary.
Yeah. But Iago looked good. He looked better. He looked quicker than he did on the week prior. But it's a situation we've never had where we really our back line is really four people that have never played together before. Truly, with Schlegel going out, with us losing Williams. I mean, the four guys in the back line had the preseason, and then even with what's his face, the right back, even with him, it was like he had a couple days. He's really still inside of his second week with the club. Um, so a lot of adjusting back there. I mean, they did a decent job the first half, and then second half. Honestly, second half, Miami just showed their quality that they have in the attack. They had lower expected goals. They had lower shots. Did have more on target though in the second half. But to me, a lot of that goes into the reason Miami was able to score is because, I brought it up in the show. Is you said I hope we don't fall back too much. And I think it was 30 seconds in Miami's first attack. I leaned over to you and said, "There you go." We dropped back deep, and I knew it was going to be, even though we were up 2-0. There's the old saying in the sport, 2-0 is the most dangerous lead in soccer, and it showed. The number of times that I've watched matches, more often than not, they result in wins. But the number of times that I've seen a team go up 2-0 and then lose, 3-2, 4-2 is quite shocking because 2-0 is, it's one of those as the team that's up 2-0, you feel comfortable because you're like, oh, they didn't score in the first half. We scored 2 goals. But as the opposing team, you're like, we're only down 1 goal, and the game completely changes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with the current manager, he seems to have the attitude, "Oh, we're up 2-0. That's enough of a lead."
Yeah,
And I'm sorry, if we would have had possession in the second half, if we would have taken care of the ball, as you said, treasured the possession of the ball the way you should, I think we come out with the win. But this manager seems to want us when we're up 2-0, especially in the second half, to just clear the ball, not play it out, just clear it downfield and let the other team reset and let us reset. And I'm sorry, at the professional level, even in the MLS today, that's not maybe 10 years ago that was a successful tactic. But anymore, that's not going to. You're not going to win a lot of games doing that, and it shows. We have, now is it? I think 5 straight losses, at least 4 straight losses, and we have one win in our last 12.
Yeah.
So it's not good, not great, not even like acceptable, and we, It's extremely disheartening. Yeah, 5 straight losses going back to last year against Vancouver.
Yeah, you nailed it. I remember saying it during the game. I can't remember a lot of that I say during the game sometimes because I get caught up in the moment. But I think I was saying to you is like we don't value the ball. The ball doesn't have any value to us. And what I mean by that is, if you don't know what I mean, it's like when you watched Miami during that game, they value the ball. When they have it, they know what they're going to do with it. They want it. They want to keep it. And they don't, they play in a way that they do keep the ball and they do value it in a way that they play forward and they keep the ball. And I know there's a saying in football, it's not how much percentage you have, it's what you do with it, you know. But in the sense of how we don't value the ball because when we do it, we tried to result in a long ball game, which didn't work. We gave it away in bad areas, which didn't work, and it just shows that we don't value it as much as like we think, and we don't play like we're at home. We never have. We never have played like we're at home. So it seems like this manager's style of play just there's no value. There's no value to the ball. It's not there. It's like, well, they can have it. It's all right. Everything's all right. They'll have it. And we'll just sit back and we'll play it and we'll get the ball, what, like 30-40% of the time at home, which is criminal. It's football. It's like criminal, which is,
Yeah, yesterday possession we had 39% of it.
So I pretty much nailed it. Yeah. So we had 39%. We had 40% of the ball at home.
Yep, and against Red Bulls we had it's a little better, 52 to 48%.
But we still don't value.
But yeah, and again, that's against them starting 3 or 4 high schoolers.
Yeah,
you know, and I mean, the one thing is on the free kick that Messi scored. Propose should have stopped that. He was there. He had that beat. It snuck under him. That was the one mistake I think he made is letting that sneak past him. As you watch it, he was there. It just went under his body.
Which is poor positioning, but
well, it was off of a free kick. So I mean, especially when you have players like they have taking the free kicks, you have to guard for the post that the wall isn't set up for. And to me, in the position that he had it at, that the free kick was taken at, they only did, I believe, a 4-person wall. It should, instead of a 5, which in my opinion is why he was able to sneak that far post. And especially when a player like Messi's taking the kick, you have to have that post guarded.
Yeah.
Because that's the quickest, that's the shortest line to the goal is around or through the wall. And if he's going to take it, he's not one to really be able to put it over the wall. He usually always puts it around the wall. And if he tries to put it around the wall and go opposite post, the keeper should be there.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to give a bit of homework for the people watching. If you look back at our last 5 games, right, 5 home games, not away games, because we all know that we actually suit away games more than home games, right? Do your homework, and most of the time, if you're a home team, you want about 60%, like 70% of the ball, right? And you want to be on the front foot playing attacking football. Blah. Last 5 games, I think we averaged about the other team had more percent of the ball than we had in the last 5 home games, including last season. So these 2, and then the last 3 before, had more percent of the ball. I don't know, it's a stat and whatever.
I can tell you. So our last home game was Vancouver. I'm sorry, Vancouver. They had 69% of the possession.
Yeah, so they had 70% of the ball.
Match before that Our home match before that was
Columbus.
Columbus.
60% of the ball.
They had 60% of the ball. And before that, the home match before that was our last win.
Was Nashville.
But I believe
they had more percent of the ball in that game as well.
Yeah.
Which shows that we don't play possession style of play. We do not play a home style of play. No matter what anyone says, we do not play like we're at home. Never have, never will. You know? And that's the problem. That's the problem why people probably are like David said on like the podcast where he's not going to renew his season ticket. And my dad's very close as well as me. I'm very close where, you know, we're very close to not renewing our season tickets because we do not play like we're at home. It's not entertaining.
Well, it's not even playing like, to me, it's not even a matter of playing home versus away. It's a matter of you look who's done well in the league just the last 3 or 4 seasons. You know, obviously Miami with Messi and company, but they're possession heavy. LAFC are possession heavy. Columbus is possession heavy. You know, Cincinnati, when they had Lucho Acosta, were possession heavy. Nashville, the last 2 seasons since they've had BJ Callahan, they changed their manager up, have been possession heavy. You know, you go down the list and teams that do well in the league and do well in tournament play are control possession. Because to me, like, yeah, you can have a bunch of possession, and if you don't do anything with it, it's just wasted. But if you play possession, you then get to control what the other team does. You know, and if especially at home, if you're in front of your fans that spend money, it should mean more. And it goes to the post I made on my personal page on X. You know, it seems like from the top down, you know, maybe outside of Ricardo and Jared Dillon, but from the top down, it seems like nobody understands that the badge has weight to it. And it does. You know, people like me, Luke, David, Ahmed, Misael, you know, a lot of people that have been with this team for years, there's weight to it. And it means something. And until we get an ownership group and a front office that understands it. I mean, yesterday, walking back from the match yesterday, they let a bus full of Inter Miami fans pull up right outside of the West Club gate and load people up on the street. We got yelled at in the past because we've known people that are in the West Club that got tickets for the West Club, and we've waited for them to come out and walk back to our cars with them. We've gotten yelled at by security for standing on the sidewalk off to the side waiting for them, that we can't stand there. But then you're going to bow down to just because Miami wants that? And I don't even think it was an official Miami group. It looked like just a bunch of college kids. And then I say something to the staffer, and he's like, what do you want me to do about it? They're just loading. And, you know, every match we see people trying to jump into a lift. You know, 2-3 people jump into a lift and get picked up there on a public street, mind you, that are told they can't be loaded, that they can't be picked up there. And we're going to let a bus full, you know, 80 to 100 people load up on a bus where everybody's walking to their cars on that sidewalk. Like, it's just like, until this club understands that that there's weight under the badge, until that happens, I don't see us winning a trophy. You know, and I don't want us to go the way of Miami by buying all these age superstars and doing this. I love the fact that we have an academy that's producing talent, that continues to produce talent. You know, I love that we're taking advantage of the U22 initiative and bringing in these younger players. That's what and then bring in a piece or two, you know, like a Griezmann or you know, a Nani type player that we've talked about at length on the show about bring 1 or 2 of those guys in.
Yeah.
You know, I love what I saw after the final whistle with Ojeda confronting Messi about the way he acted after he scored his goal. I don't know if you saw that, Luke, or not.
I didn't see it. No.
Um, but he, the guy, the main announcer yesterday, it was like, "Oh, you hate to see this after a rivalry match, Taylor. I know you hate seeing it. All these, there seems to be a debate about who's getting Messi's jersey." And then Taylor Twellman interrupted and was like, "No, that's not what's going on at all. Ojeda's sitting there as a captain going, why did you act like that after you scored your goal, making fun of our fans and our team, and you could tell it wasn't anything about the jersey. You could tell Martin was pretty irate, and did it in a professional manner. Didn't do it where he got was yelling at him, but you could tell he was not pleased with what Messi did, and that's what you want to see. Which was good. I'm glad he did that. You know, it just it hurts. My son Barrett, when Miami scored their third goal, he almost started crying. I know that's why, Luke, you saw it, why he acted the way he was acting later in the match. Kind of throwing a fit because one of his friends got food. He has a bad dairy allergy, so we don't get the food at the stadium because we don't want to risk cross contamination, and then that'd be a quick trip to the hospital with an EpiPen shot because he has to have an EpiPen for it. So we don't let him have the food at the stadium. And his friend had potato chips, just regular potato chips, and they were tortilla chips, and he knows that they don't have dairy in them, and he asked the kid's mom if it has dairy, and she said no. So he wanted the chips and threw an ever loving fit, which anybody that knows my son, that's not like him. And so he was up, and he's only 4. That's how seriously he takes it. And and he's not the only kid. There's kids in every age group that take it that seriously. You look in the wall, it's littered with kids that take it seriously. It's just until the club realizes what they're doing is so far from what this fan base deserves, it's never going to get better. Which leads me to our next topic. Unless you wanted to talk more about the match, but I think we've beat the dead horse enough.
Yeah.
Going up to the match, we got there a little later to the gate, a little later than we wanted to. We really wanted to get there right when the gate opened at 6:00, and we got there a little bit later. I think like 6:20, 6:30. And of course, there was a line all the way across the street. And, we see fans in there with shirts over top of Miami jerseys and such. And we called them out. And honestly, I was impressed with the way security handled it outside of the stadium. I don't know about you, Luke.
Shout out that guy, whoever he was.
Yeah, his first name was Denzel. Really cool guy.
Yeah,
really was taking it seriously out there.
He was cool. I like him.
Yeah, shout out to him.
We need more people like Denzel, who was out there doing his job. He was a cool guy. Definitely from the Orlando region. I know he moved here probably. But he definitely has that Orlando feel about him. So shout out to him. He was doing his job, as everyone should be, who is hired by the club to do that job, but most of them don't.
Yeah.
But shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to Denzel. I told him we'd give him a shout out in the recorded show. He was doing his job great. The other gentleman that was out there with him didn't get his name, but because he was more floated, the other guy was more floating in the line, and Denzel was kind of there, just in one position patrolling. But those guys were doing their job. Those guys were making people take their Messi jerseys off. Which are their Miami jerseys, whatever, same difference at this point. Which is great, but that also brings us to the fact of they shouldn't even be in the wall then. Like if somebody's trying to cover, if somebody's wearing that just any other team, it doesn't even matter if it's Miami. It could be we're playing, Chicago, and people try to bring Chicago are trying to hide their Chicago jersey. They should immediately be escorted to the away section, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not allowed in the wall. Does that mean that there's possibly a couple hundred less people in the wall? So be it. But, if we're going to have these rules in place and you're going to, threaten to throw somebody out because they have a Jolly Roger flag, when our teams obviously, especially this year, celebrating, our history of involvement with the with pirates and treasure and all that stuff that goes into it, but we're going to let opposition in there. I mean, that's the wall. That's the place that people have bled over, poured their blood, sweat, and tears into to make something.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to name names because that's insensitive to certain families. But there's people in there that I guarantee you, if they see what the state of the wall is today, that they're rolling over in their graves. Take your pick of who I'm talking about. There's several of them.
Yeah.
And, I know you had conversations, one of the more recent ones to pass away, and how he hated how it had gotten. And it's just sad, It's sad that the club doesn't care. It's sad that the supporter groups. I mean, the photo that of the night, to me, to show the state of the club, is that photo of Messi.
Him celebrating in front of the wall and
Yeah,
everyone taking pictures of it, like, I'm like, what?
yeah. I mean, when you have people that in our supporter section that are taking videos or pictures and videos of an opposition player kicking a free kick, and then when he scores, they look excited for it. It's uncalled for, you know. It's embarrassing, honestly, to people like Luke and I.
And what it is, right, is like, it's the manhunt that some of the supporters groups that support the team, right?
Hmm.
And like, you nailed it. A Jolly Roger flag isn't allowed on the wall anymore, and like, it just shows the manhunt and its capability of it happening, and it's possible to stop it. They just choose not to,
Hmm.
right? And it's bizarre. I can't fathom a reason for it, right?
Hmm.
Apart from it's like an autocracy in the wall now, that it's not actually ran by the club, it's ran by the supporters groups themselves.
Yep.
It's ran by autocratic elites, if
Yep.
you would like to use a very, very advanced term, which, I'm in school, which I like to use these terms because they're cool.
For those of wondering, this is just a snippet of the photo that I
Yeah,
cropped.
let's cue to the
The
picture.
fact that this is happening in our wall.
Is that a Nashville kit?
No, that's our new kit. I think actually that might be a natural kit.
It
The way it
looks
looks,
like it looks
it's
like
hard
a
to tell with the way our new kit is. Because if you look at the guy that's kind of center right, that's just cropped out a
Yeah,
bit,
that's what I
that's
was
known for
thinking right
kicking,
there. Yeah.
it looks very similar. But you look at that, and that's embarrassing. That's a black stain on the club. That's a um, you know,
And this is the ILF section.
yeah,
This is like the ILF front row,
yep,
which, I know certain people were there who've been a part of the ILF for a very, very long time. So to see that happen, to see these people in the front rows, just shows that there is questions that need to be asked. And there is questions that need to be answered. Because if this is what they're doing on both sides, then they shouldn't be a thing anymore. They've lost the vision about why they're there. They've lost the vision, and they shouldn't have the control that they should have. Because if that's the control that they should have, and that's what they're using their control for, they should not be a thing. They shouldn't.
the best part of that picture, and in this clip, he looks like by far the youngest player in that, or
So
And,
he looks very English. That kid, that kid has come on his spring break from half term, and he looks fed up. He looks like, well, come all this way, right, to see him, and he looks fed up. So credit to that kid, whoever he is.
yeah. But the other, 20 somethings, and there's a couple of teenagers in there, which, whatever.
Most of them
But
are my with the
most
Barons.
of them are adults.
The embarrassing thing is most of them are my age.
Yeah.
That's the embarrassing thing about it, is that unfortunately there's a few of us, right? A few of us, very few of my age, college kids that go to Orlando games.
Hmm.
Very few. I feel like we're the demographic. Like there's a ton of young children that go, and there's a ton of adults that go, like around like John's age and older, who go. But my age are starved of supporting Orlando. We're like, I've not had a group of lads to go to the football with ever, like my age. And and I don't really know the reason why. I think it's a culture aspect. I don't think they appeal to my age that much. I think, like, if you're trying to attract people, the prime ages are like young adults. So like that young age from like 18 to 31 ish, around that age. That's like the young adult age. You need to attract them. Like, you're attracting like kids night out. Kids have the attention span of like anything like that. Like, they could be loving football. They could have. It's a bit different in where I'm from, of course, because all we had is football. You didn't really have an option. But in America, they have so many options, right? It's like, next thing you know, you're loving one thing, and kids loving one thing, and then 2 weeks later they're this, 2 weeks later they're that, 2 weeks later they're this, and it's
Hmm.
like a continuous thing. It's like, try to grasp a demographic that tries to understand understands what's going on, b can comprehend stuff, and c is young enough to have that passion, have that desire, and have that drive that can show that the core of our supporters aren't just fossils.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
I feel like there's a section just through social media of people that generally don't agree with what we say on the main show, that agree with us on this topic. Just looking at it, like, I literally just tried to like something on X, and it said you can't like this because the person has you blocked. Um,
oh,
and it's true. I mean, this individual, if you end up watching this, because you have us blocked, I'm not saying your name, but I'll read the post. He said, "My city, my club, my wall. Stop." And I'm gonna keep it clean because we try to keep it clean on the show. Stop embarrassing yourselves. No need to explain what they do. Support the club or take your photos from section 105. And it's true. Like, if you're in the wall, you're in the supporter section. And I'm not saying that this should happen in our stadium. I'm not supporting it. Try to do that in any other country. Try to do what you guys did that were there, just so you could see a cheap ticket to see a single man who doesn't know who you are and could care less about what you do in your daily life, just so you could get a picture of him. Try that in another country. And you don't have to go far. Go into Mexico and try to do that, see what happens.
I'm into
Go into
England.
England. England, you wouldn't even be allowed to do that, which Luke talked about on our show. But go into England and try to do that.
You wouldn't be allowed. You wouldn't walk out alive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why Messi never played in England.
Yeah.
Because A, he wasn't good enough, and B,
Well, and B, the Premier League wouldn't bow to his demands that, like, La Liga and
yeah,
like the MLS is doing.
he wasn't good enough.
And they drug test in the Premier League.
That's true. That's why Suarez.
Yep.
That's why Suarez was a bang average player in the Prem and turned out to be a world beater in La Liga.
So I mean, it's just sad. I mean, the you know, it's just disheartening. That's the only word I can come to, is disheartening with the way the supporter groups the supporter section has become. Um,
The
which
laughing stock.
what's that?
The laughing stock of the
Yeah,
league.
I mean, Taylor Twellman can give praise as much as he wants to the way it sounded. And I said this in our pre-show. I don't remember if I said it in the main show or not, but the way the stadium sounded is a fraction of how it could sound.
It could sound, yeah.
I mean, when I'm sitting there, not even a minute into the match, being asked by somebody to quiet down that's standing in front of me in the supporter section, what are we doing?
A great new section to the right of us where you can have food and beverage. Go there.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of empty seats there.
Plenty. Well, yesterday there supposedly wasn't, but we saw with our own eyes.
Yeah, allegedly, but I saw that there wasn't a lot of people there.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the prawn cocktail brigade. Have a hot dog. Have a soda. Whatever. Don't do it here. Don't do it in the wall, please.
Yeah.
Do it somewhere else. So many seats. You can keep your. Oh, I want the experience.
And sit up at the very tippy top, and keep to yourself. Like, don't, like, I hate sounding like I'm trying to be excluding or not welcoming or whatever. But when it comes to the wall, I'm not going to be. If you're going to be standing there cheering for the other team, I'm not going to be welcoming.
Yeah, I'm not. You're not going to be limiting about like what you can and can't do. It's like that's not your job. That's the security's job.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, well, supposed to be. Apparently, I'm getting told by my own fans more about how I should support the team. Don't tell me how to support the team when I pay a ticket.
If you're there supporting our team, I won't say anything to you. And you won't be judged. If you're there not supporting our team, you're not supporting Orlando City, that's what I have issue with.
You'll get judged. Yeah. That's the way I think.
I mean, obviously, to go back on what I said on the main show, I'm not going to do anything to hurt somebody as far as patrolling it, but if the security's not going to be doing their job, I know people in the club that care about their job, that actually work for the club, that will get those people kicked out.
Yeah.
And it's just, we're there to support the team. When it all comes down to it, affiliations aside, the thing that I hated when I was in Ruckus is how it was Ruckus till I die. No, it should be Orlando City till I die.
Yeah.
The affiliation, the group affiliation to me comes second.
And it's got even worse, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's not even Ruckus till I die anymore. It's my agenda till I die. My Instagram followers till I die.
Mm-hmm.
My social media platform till I die. That's what it's turned into. It's become such a way for people to get their own personal agenda. Like the guy you mentioned in the hallway, high fiving like everyone like that. And that's what the supporters groups have turned into. And
I threw a fit. I mean, when we were walking by, I threw a fit.
The guy and what he was wearing, right? And I don't know his name, so I don't want to say his name. But if you've been around the wall, you've seen him. He dresses up in like a Mario costume, and like he's an older gentleman. Somebody who shouldn't be dressing up to football.
Yeah, he's in his 20s, but yeah.
He's an older gentleman. Well, I'm in my 20s, and I don't dress up like a Mario character. Let's just.
He's an adult, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's an adult. He's an adult, and he dresses up like a Mario costume. He's around the wall, high-fiving people after we just played and lost the derby day.
Played terribly and lost our derby.
Yeah, lost our derby. Right. That's the culture that we're surrounded by, where we are comfortable in failure. Comfortable in failure. People like that shouldn't go to games. You can have a good time, right? Just don't express it in a way where, it's like, oh, you know, whatever. And it's like out loud and obnoxious and just stupid.
I mean, to me, wear what you want to the matches. That's not what bothered me really. That's not what bothers me.
That's
Like,
what bothers me.
people have their gimmicks. It's the fact that he was out there high fiving people. It's
Yeah, yeah.
like there's nothing to celebrate there. One thing that we're instilling in our son. There's the drummers on the corner outside of the stadium that we walk past every night. I didn't even realize if they were there or not last night. I was so ticked off.
I don't think
But
I don't. It was that bad. They didn't even show up.
okay. And my son likes to go and dance with them. And we've told him if Orlando City loses, you can't dance with them. There's not, because dancing is a form of celebration. There's nothing to celebrate in a loss.
No, yeah.
And a loss like last night in other countries, especially in other countries in Europe outside of the UK, because I've never seen it happen in the UK. The ultras would have not let the team leave the grounds. The team would have had to appear in front of the supporter section, and questions would have been asked of them, and demands would have been made.
Well, that's in England. We call that a supporters trust.
Okay.
We have an actual organization group of
that does it behind closed doors,
behind the scenes, who talk with the supporters,
Okay.
and then they go back and forth and correlate with the fans about. They're an actual public group.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do like season checkups about what's going on with the group and with the team and stuff like that. That's what the
But a loss like last night, you would have seen that in Italy and Germany, the two countries that I mainly follow teams in Europe in. You would have seen the team have to be in front of the supporter section and being berated by the leaders of their supporter section. You see it on a yearly basis happen. And it's just one of those that we don't do that here, fine. But we need to have that mentality that we are if we're going to be there in the supporter section giving 110%, and I barely have a voice today. I've kept it together really well, but I've went through 2 things of water just in the time we started recording or started doing the live show to keep my voice. If I'm going to give that much of me and give 100% in there, I want at least that from the team and the coaching staff and the front office. And right now, I don't feel like anybody on the field, on the pitch, or pulling the strings of the organization emulates that.
Yeah.
And us as supporters, whether you're in a supporter group or not, has to hold the club accountable for that. We have to. Plain and simple.
Yep.
And it's not, that's part of the reason that 3 years ago I wanted to start this show with David, is to be able to voice my opinion and voice the, to hold the club accountable. Because if you try to do it on X or on Twitter at the time, or do it on one of the discussion groups, you got, made fun of, threatened, blocked, stuff like that.
You still do.
Huh?
You still do. Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
I feel like the fan base is more united now than ever, that changes need to be made.
I disagree. I still feel like there's a bit of friction, and between the happy clappers and the me, the pessimists and the realists. I try to voice my opinion all the time on various different platforms, and every single time it has kicked off, and I have got banned for it.
Well, that's because you also have a little bit of an instigator in you as well.
I don't know what you're talking about. Never. I'm a clean cut individual. I don't know what you're saying.
But that brings us kind of to our next topic. So let's say Poppy is let go, which I was really hopeful to see last night when I got done driving home that he was let go. But obviously he hasn't been. As of recording this, it's 11:38 p.m. on Monday. He hasn't been let go yet. Once let's say it goes to mid-April, and it takes it that long for him to get let go. Where do you think this team ends up? Do you think we can, as it stands, we bring a new coach in? Do you think we even have a shot at the playoffs by that time?
No. I think they'll do it too late. And they'll do the whole, let's rebuild for next season. There's always next season, right? That whole cliche argument of there's always next season, but there's always now, right? We can only live in the present. And what better time to sack your manager after he loses the home opener in an embarrassing fashion to a bunch of kids, and you lose Derby Day. What a better opportunity to get your season out, start fresh, and you've still got time to go until it's too late. Because in football, in the MLS, there is too late. There unfortunately is too late.
Yep.
If what is it? 1 win in 13.
1 win in 13 total competitions, yeah. And
Yeah,
I believe it's 8 losses in those 13 as well.
1 win in 13, and 8 of those are losses. He would have been gone by the end. He would have been gone way before that. In any different country, in any different club, in any different structure, league, whatever you want to call it, he would have been gone.
And even what some people say, oh, we beat what's it called in penalties and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it still shows up as a result. It's still a draw.
It's a draw. We didn't win. We didn't win, didn't we? So just shows. Shows that
I don't know. I know it cost him his job, but I really wish if Ricardo wanted him gone, he would straight up say he wants him gone. And just, it cost him his job. I know he won't do it, but I feel like he knows that Poppy needs to be gone, just something's holding him back. And there's only one thing that can be holding him back, and that's the people above him. And the only person above him are the owners.
Which I don't understand. Which we can never understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we don't know why and how and what is going on, but he has to go. Must.
He should have won in the offseason.
He should have, yeah. 1 win in 13, you're gone within 8. 1 win in 8 is enough.
I mean, look at Wilfred Nancy, and Scotland.
Exactly. He was gone in 5,
8, I think.
8.
I think it took 8.
He was gone in 8.
He was there for 6 weeks. I think they had a couple Wednesday matches in there.
Yeah, he was gone in 8.
I think he had one win in that time, and kind of what pulled the string was their loss to, very similar to how we lost, was their loss in the Old Firm Derby to Rangers. They were up 1-0 late in the first half, gave up a goal, and then it was all Rangers from there out.
Yeah, it just shows. I'm trying to search it up to see the games, but can't actually see it. But he had a 25% win rate, which is the lowest of any manager of any Celtic, whatever, in probably their freaking history.
And in my guess, 1 win in 12 is lower than a 25% win rate. I know it's less than 10%.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you do,
and even you take getting results, I think we're at a 25% rate for that. If it's basically, if it's 8 losses and 13.
I want to see. I want to do something real quick, and you can keep on talking. I'll keep on talking in the background, but I wanted to see if they can give me the points per game ratio out of his last 13.
You can do that. That's
Yeah.
easy. That's easy math to do. And the thing people have asked in years past, well, who are you going to get to replace him? There are plenty of managers that are available right now. Wilfred Nancy's the obvious one that we keep talking about. You have Minnesota's old coach that was just let go from a championship side. There's a coach in South America, several coaches from South America, one from Argentina specifically, and one from Brazil that are available that have said their interest in coaching in Major League Soccer, from big clubs in those countries that are available. So the options are out there.
There's managers out there.
Yeah.
It's not a lack of what's the word? It's not a lack of managers.
Yeah, it's not a lack of supply. So, in my opinion, do it now. Be one of the first. Have your pick of the lot. Do it now and get the best fit. If you don't want to go with Wilfred Nancy, which I think he'd be a good fit, especially if we got Griezmann. They both are French, have similar styles. Growing up with that French organization, I honestly don't mind the French style of football, very possession and midfield based. And I think, despite what other people say, I think we have, maybe not to challenge for Supporters Shield, but I think the roster is talented enough with the right coach, without a Griezmann, to, make the playoffs and potentially have first round be home field. I'm saying fourth, maybe third. But with this coach right now, it's just not it. Marco does better when we're in possession. That's proven. He's not a counter-attacking winger. Ojeda does better when we're in possession. He's not a counter-attacking. He can put the passes in, but he's not fast enough to be up there on a counter-attack a lot of the times.
Yeah.
You
So his points per game is 0.46. That speaks volumes. Not even a point per game in his last 13.
That puts us at, we'll just round up for argument's sake, that puts us at 16 points for the season if we continued on that rate.
Yep. Yeah. Which speaks volumes about where we're at.
By the way, they'd be 10 points behind Wooden Spoon winners DC United last year. That's the route we're going. Thank you for looking that up. That's the route we're on right now.
That's the projectile. People want to talk about stats. These are your stats. 0.46 points per game. Not even a point. Not even half a point. Just non-existent point. Which, people like your stats.
People want to say that this is going to change. Honestly, it's not.
There's no indication.
We're averaging a goal and a half a game per match, which is what Poppy's career teams, which is high for the teams that his career.
Yeah.
I think last year was a little bit different because obviously we scored quite a bit. We were almost to two goals per match. But I mean, 13 matches. We're talking about almost a half a season worth of matches that the team hasn't been producing. They came out in the first half looked inspired. Came out in the second half looked uninspired. This match, and it's just a continuation of the trend that I've seen. And I know, Luke, you weren't on the show, but we've talked about it, that you've seen for the last 3 or 4 seasons, where it's like we go out, we play a bad half, we come out, look like we're look good in the second half. Next match, we come out in the first half, look good in the first half, look bad in the second half. It's like we can never piece an entire game together.
No.
And that was definitely the fact a lot of last year. And I just think it has to do with, again, 10 years ago that it was acceptable for the league because, yeah, you had your DPs and those were like levels above your standard MLS player, MLS roster player. And I just feel like now that
the level of DPs to regular players is slim.
It's not that the DPs have slipped off, in my opinion.
It's that the quality of players
the quality of the players are better.
Yeah, which shows, unless you've got now's names shall not be named. We all know who we're thinking about.
Yeah, I mean that's an
exception.
Yeah, that's an exception.
And for the average DP striker, you've got like Wilfred Zaha. He's a good example. He's a bang average player, and when I see him in a team where sometimes he does some good things, but most of the time he's not anything special compared to the other players whatsoever.
Whereas you go five, especially 10 years ago, he'd be up there for MVP.
He would be. And it shows, and you could just look at the way we managed to do it, which wasn't a successful way. We've always been behind on models and trends and whatever like that, Orlando. We always have, and we always started off like.
Except for the U22, I will say we've been very good.
Yeah, that was the model. We nailed it that year, and it was when we started off with Kaka, when we had a bunch of non-league footballers in a team with,
a legend of the game.
A legend of the game. Like, there's only so much he could do. His legacy will live on, but what legacy?
Yeah.
Realistically, like I don't get putting his name up there and whatever. What legacy? Off the pitch,
I mean, you have to put his name up
off the pitch. He made a legacy, but on the pitch, he didn't do nothing. He made some.
Yeah, but when a player like that plays for your club, it's not something.
Huh?
When a player like that plays for your team and is on the pitch, and takes it seriously like he did,
but but you look 100 years from now, highlight reels won't matter. Your goals and assists won't matter. It's what is in the trophy cabinet that matters, and he has nothing to prove for it. He has nothing there. I mean, freaking Miguel Gallardo,
Don't get me started on him today because he's on my naughty list, if you will.
Yeah, but I can name other players like Jamie Watson. Players like that, and like so many other players who I can't really name because I was too young. But who were non-league footballers have left a bigger legacy than him.
Yeah, Tom Dwyer.
Why? Why do you have to mention him?
Hey, he's on my good list. He's on my good list since we had the conversation 2 years ago. So,
oh yeah,
you got to give him that. You thought I was going to be kicked out and banned from the stadium, and him and I ended up. Me and Dom had a good conversation at a match during the match while the match was going on. Obviously, we didn't appreciate how he left the club and what he did after he was here.
I didn't appreciate any of it.
And, Well, and then Luke and I let him know about it at a match, and basically he told me to come over, told us to come over and have a conversation because like I'm not going over. I said screw it, I'll go,
Yeah.
and went over, and obviously security stormed me. I said I'm just here to talk, and him and I had a good conversation. He ended up, apologizing to me, saying that he should have thought it through more. Um, and we left it at that. I told him I'd drop it, so he said, "What's it going to take for you to leave me alone?" I said, "To apologize." And he said, "For what?" And told him what I just went over, and he's like, "Yeah, I shouldn't." And it seemed sincere, and I like to believe it was sincere. And I dropped it. We shook hands and went our separate ways, and that was that. That was one of those things I don't that still blows my mind. It happened just because of everything going on that year. But
That's the reason I didn't go over.
yeah,
I thought definitely I'm gonna get definitely I'm gonna get canned. I'm like, no.
but again, that's a guy that understands because where was he raised? He was raised in the UK. He understands the culture.
Yeah, criticism is a part of the game.
Yeah, and understand that it was coming from a place of
A place
you know
of we
caring
want to
about
see
that.
we don't want to see you do bad. We want to see you do good. And
Hmm.
when we see you taking the piss,
And taking your shirt off and stomping on it, and
yeah, and we doing all
reposting a graphic of Toronto of them painting the purple seats red and
climbing
saying
up walls.
let's do it,
That's
boys. And
classic. If you get that reference, you do. Climbing up walls when you're injured all the time. That's a classic reference. If anybody gets that, credit to you. Uh, but yeah, when you're doing that, you're bound to get criticism, and you're opening yourself up to it. You're opening yourself up to it.
so, but yeah, I mean, it's just going back to what it is. The staff and the players need to understand this badge has weight to it, and can't take putting on that jersey that me, Luke, David, Ahmed, Misael, my son would, borderline sign a deal with the devil to put on once and play a match, and match on that pitch, just to do it once. And we seemingly got a bunch of guys and staff and front office that just takes it for granted.
Yeah,
So I just, we were hopeful coming into the season that Poppy would change his ways, and if anything, the only thing that he changed is he went even more defensive, in my opinion, through
when
the
even
first
more
two
flat.
matches. Yeah, and it's hard to talk for me when I don't understand things, because I truly don't understand how how this coaching staff still has a job.
Unexplainable.
What do you think of the Tifo? Honestly, there's been mixed reviews on it.
I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
It's a movie reference,
I know it's obviously probably a movie reference. Let me see. Let me see it again because
and it was who was on it? I know Freeman was on it, Thomas Williams was on it, and somebody else was on it. I can't remember
it's
who.
Carabao.
Was it I think it was Caraballo.
I don't really get it. I mean,
I
like
think what yeah.
it was
I
kind of
think as a tifo, it was nice. If you got the reference, you got it. I can't think of the movie it was from or show it was from right now. Um, but I thought it was better than our one last week, honestly.
yeah.
And hats off to the supporter groups for squashing their differences, and we went, what, 33 matches without, or whatever, 17, 16 matches without one last year, and finally had one at the end of
Two.
last year. And then
Um,
this year
um,
we've had two so far. Obviously, there's not going to be one every match, because then it just gets kind of redundant. But home opener, to me, you have to have one. derby matches, you have to have one
Just
playoffs.
like it would have probably they probably would have had a really really good one if it was later on in the year.
I thought
Best FIFA we ever had was the gift from the gods. That one was wow.
I don't know the one. I think overall, yes, that one was one of the best ones. I really like the one that we had in 2018 opening match.
Which one was that one?
With Deadpool. I won't say his full name, but with Deadpool on it.
Oh, Joe. Yeah, I worked on that one.
Really?
Yeah, I worked on that one.
That one was a really nice one.
Yeah, it was massive as well.
And I like the one we had against Miami a couple years ago with the Florida man surfing on the Gators.
That one was all right.
I really liked that one.
The gift from the gods one was just massive. That's all I remember of it. It was like it covered the entire wall.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably the biggest we've ever had.
Probably.
And like, wow, was that like another classic one I remember was in 20. It was the inaugural one.
Okay.
In the MLS.
Yeah.
Now, okay, wait, I might reject my answer here. I might need to take it away. The Atlanta United one, the very first one, it was the Walking Dead reference, I think it was.
Yes, that one was classic too.
Yeah, that is one that sticks in my head very well.
Yeah.
That one was a great one. It was the Walking Dead one. So, we've not done that bad on them.
No. Yeah, it's just hats off to them. The reference was from the film that you weren't even born. Was from Goodfellas.
Was it? Was I not born?
1990.
Oh no, I was nowhere near born. No, but I've heard of it, obviously. I don't even think that. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. So they use a Goodfellas tifo for like kids that were born in my era. They weren't even born.
Yeah.
I bet Freeman was probably watching the game, probably thinking, "Well, I wasn't even freaking born. I don't. He was probably calling his dad, probably not getting the reference."
Possibly.
Caraballo was like -18.
Yeah. I'll send you after the show. Luke, I'll send you the way you can look it up too. From the line goes, since I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. I think is how it went.
Yeah.
Not sure, but yeah, it was something like that from the film. Yeah, as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. That's what the line is. So,
Is there anything else?
I think that's it for tonight.
Yeah.
Johnny was on. I didn't have as much planned for tonight because we thought Jonathan and Johnny was going to be on, but that he had to cancel, had to postpone his involvement in the show, which is fine. Life and family come first. Again, nothing happened. Everybody's healthy and okay. He just had to get up earlier than he anticipated tomorrow, and obviously it's past midnight right now on Monday recording this. So, we hope the team is able to turn it around. Just really hard to be positive about anything right now. We talked about the positives that we did see on the main show. It's time, man. It's time for a fresh voice in the locker room, in front of the fans, everything.
Press conference. New press conferences.
Yeah. So, you got anything else to add, Luke, real quick?
That's it.
All right.
Oh, wait, no, I didn't say it in the main show. Kick towards the bloody wall in the second half. I'm sick of it.
Yep.
Oh no.
So at least we got to see the goals in front of us.
I don't care.
I know.
It's tradition. I'd rather see. It's tradition. No.
No, I agree. It should be the home team should be kicking towards their supporters in the second half. Why we seemingly refuse now. I refuse to believe we're losing this many coin tosses.
Yeah.
I mean, the only conceivable way, and even then you would think we would win every once in a while, is if we picked tails last week, lost, pick heads this week and lost. So eventually the numbers say that, you know, you have...
We lose a 50-50 chance 100% of the time, apparently.
Definitely. Well, that's going to be the show for tonight. Thank you for everybody who watched this. Don't forget to like the show, leave your comments if you have any questions, if you want to join us, give your unique perspective on anything with the club. Let us know. We're obviously trying to, this is the show that we're trying to, have guests on and stuff to give their opinion. We will do guests on the other show if you ask. Not a big deal, but this one really gives the platform with only two of us it's a little easier to facilitate guests on this show, and have a true conversation rather than just like a interview format. Find us on all of our socials. Saturday, 2:30 p.m. we'll be kicking off. Still don't know what I'm doing with my Saturday night because I only watch my teams. I don't watch other teams. Maybe I'll put, I don't know, 360 on if they still have it or something. Yeah. But looking really bleak right now. But this is where you cut your teeth out of supporters and stick with the team. Always wanting what's best for the badge and pushing through it, because when we do eventually lift another trophy, it's all going to be worth it. Gee, it's going to mean even more. Trust me. The trophy in 22 meant the world to me. Obviously, its luster's worn off by now. But, especially one win and 13 matches and a 0.34 points per match. I think it's well past time to find a new leader of this team. So, with that, yeah. So much more I want to say, but don't know how to say it. But thank you for everybody that'll watch. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Leave your comments for any suggestions you guys want to see. And as always, Vamos Orlando.